Hi, Ben. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Dr. Natalie. No problem. Happy to be here.
Yay, awesome. So everybody comes at the whole PhD from different walks of life, backgrounds. Could you just share a little bit about your background or what motivated you to get your PhD?
Yeah, for sure. So I originally mostly grew up in Dallas, Texas, and then I did my undergraduate studies at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, where I graduated with a double major in mathematical decision sciences, which is what they used to call what is now the statistics and analytics degree, and economics. And from there, so I graduated in 2017. And then I had a 5 or 6 year professional career in mostly private equity and private credit. From there, transitioned to a little bit more of a consulting role. I did work as a strategic finance consultant at a consulting firm. And then mid last year, decided that I wanted to take the plunge and go back to applying, to actually follow through on applying for grad school stuff, because I had been thinking about it for probably 3 or 4 years at that point, and had actually taken a few steps towards applying for a handful of JD-MBA programs, but I wasn't able to get everything together by the deadline, so I let that slide. But it's kind of been a periodic thing over the last couple of years. So that was part of what drew me to Fearless Grad, the in-year program, was because I was like, hey, I just need somebody to give me the right schedule and tell me the deadlines to adhere to. But eventually, while I was thinking through it, decided that I didn't want to go the MBA route, because I was looking at either JD-MBA programs or MBA plus Master's in Engineering. Decided I didn't want to do the MBA thing. And so then my next question was, well, can I go do a PhD in something without first having to go get a master's? And I didn't know the answer to that question. And so then I found somebody to hopefully give me the answer, which is what the other part of the thing that got me to Fearless Grad.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think that's really common where people think about different options, right? Because there's so many options out there, right? You could do an MBA or PhD, and both have the pros and cons. So I appreciate that you talked about it wasn't like a done deal, or there is some back and forth, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that you're not moving in the right direction. You're just thinking it through. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So what problem were you trying to solve before the Fearless Grad?
Because most of my professional experience, I have academic experience from undergrad. I did a bunch of TAing for undergrad econ and MBA classes, and had a paper done through the econ department. So I had done that in undergrad, and then spent a bunch of time working in finance, and I wasn't quite sure if I was going to get serious looks. I think it was a question, because some programs say you need to have a master's, and some would say consider professional experience, and I'd ask, hey, is my genre of professional experience considered relevant and additive to my applicant profile? And then they would, really get a straight answer, because they don't want to tell you yes or no, and it's in their interest for more people to apply rather than less. Getting somebody like a real coach in your corner to actually give you the straight answer on some of those questions was, I think, part of what got me there.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so what's like a frustration, or what did that look like for you? Because you were doing stuff on your own, and I'm sure it got a little frustrating. What was that like?
Yeah, because it was a lot so I think COVID broke a lot of university websites, and they still remain yet to be fixed. So from my side, how I was taking my initial approach was, it wasn't a spreadsheet quite like you're doing, something similar, but it was trying to just aggregate all of the links and information and stuff. And it just got to the point where it's like, oh man, there's some programs that I would refresh the page next day and the deadline would change by a month. And it's like, okay, this makes it very difficult to plan. So needed somebody to kind of help me answer the question, what's typical? What can I expect? Because it was challenging to aggregate that up from a bunch of the university admissions pages. Because that was the other note that I had, was just the general process guidance, because it's corporate finance application process is very different from a PhD or other graduate program application process. And a lot of your videos that you had on who to email and how to think about networking with either current or former students, or talking to somebody who's within the faculty, was very helpful to me, as I'm comfortable making those cold calls, cold emails, but if you don't have kind of the right script prepared, you get shut down pretty. So all that kind of stuff was super helpful.
Oh, cool. Great. I like that. So I guess what was your either favorite or most impactful part of the program that you felt was helpful?
The single one, I think it was when we were working through my resume. Because again, going back to what I was just talking about, is like I have a very good sense for how to do a finance-oriented resume. Like I was the vice president of professional development for the business charity at UNC. So I can do that, but I don't know really how to talk about my research experience to an expert audience. And so shifting around some of the emphases on the skill sets and knowing what to highlight and focus on was something I was like very additive, and I definitely would have been able to do by myself without that background knowledge.
That's so cool. I love resumes. Like, I know it's often overlooked, I think, because everyone's like SOP or like these essays, but I think the resume is super critical too, and like kind of colors a little bit how they see your whole application. You definitely want that to be strong, but yeah, that's awesome. Good. Okay. Fun. Oh, did you have any lows through this process, right? Because there are ups and downs. Could you talk through what that looked like for you?
Yeah, there's sort of the point before, just after getting resume stuff together and before I had taken the GRE, where I just got really busy with a lot of things. Life happens as it does. And so it became do I punt it a year again? And then you can, but then you're just going to have the same question next year. When are you just going to do it? And I was like, oh, she's right. And so I would like just grin and bear it until the schedule clears up a little bit, which it has now, which is great.
Yeah.
But that was again, it had been a 2 or 3 year process of trying to get stuff together and get coordinated enough to apply. And now that I already had the momentum going, I was like, okay, if I don't do it this year, I'm never going to do it. But so how I got back into it.
Good. I think that's valid. I think everybody goes through that because this is a marathon, and life, you hit it spot on. Like, life happens. Like, people will have family members get sick, or they'll have a big move or change job, and that's real. That's totally real. Up to you to keep going if that's really what you want. And that's why we try to help in that space. Cool. How did the networking go for you?
I think it went well, and that was, I think, one of the benefits of the approach that I was taking to the whole process, which is, hey, I wanted to do public schools in Texas where there's programs that would be relevant to my prior academic interests, which already creates a pretty narrow filter, and so was able to be pretty targeted with the people that I reached out to, I think you know this, but I only ended up applying to one school because A&M told me basically that, hey, if you're interested, we want you. So that was the only application I sent, and it ended up being nice because, again, it was like helpful to then think, oh man, I don't have to do 6 or 7 more SOPs and whatnot. But I'm sorry, I think I wandered off a little bit. What was the original question?
I was asking about networking in general, because sometimes they like build it up to be scarier than it has to be. And so I think just everybody's experience is different. Just hearing how it went for you is helpful.
Yeah. So with the kind of more targeted approach, it made for easier initial discussions on the cold outreach side, because I could demonstrate that I had thought through enough and that this wasn't just preliminary, like, hey, how do I apply for a PhD? Call from some rando. And then on the other side too, I do have a couple professors that I've stayed in touch with from UNC or other kind of university administrative faculty, staff, whatnot. And while not at the schools that I was applying to, where one, give me some good inside baseball guidance, and then two, like where they could put me in touch with people, which was very nice of them.
Good. Okay. What else? I guess anything that I like to ask this. What did you learn about yourself through this process? Because usually there's some things that come up. Anything for you?
Yeah, so I put this in the written part of the survey, but it eventually clicked for me that like I did want to do academic teaching things as a profession, career, what have you. Because it was always like in my head, I would say, okay, what's like my ideal life? And it would be just like taking courses at a college indefinitely. And I never really put 2 and 2 together that the route to do that is just go be a professor. So once I kind of made that connection, I was like, all right, this makes sense. I'm going to follow through and do this seriously. And it's nice because when in prior careers, it was like things I enjoyed doing, but it wasn't something that I saw myself doing indefinitely. But I think hopefully on the more academic research teaching side is something that I think I can see myself doing for quite a long time.
Cool. What does it feel like now to have this big milestone done? What does that feel like?
Oh, it's great. So yeah, so I do not have, I've turned the TVs away, but I have several TVs lined up. It is March 21st, the first day of March Madness for those who are watching this on tape delay. So that is what I will be doing for the next month. But other than that, no, it's been great. Because like I said, I took some time off to focus on applications, and now I'm kind of transitioning to the managing the move down to College Station. But otherwise, I'm just hanging out and living the dream.
Yeah. So that's like, I have a bunch of clients, and they're all like, I'm taking some time off. So are you excited to get back on campus and like get in the mix?
Yeah, I'm excited to get started. So I got an assistantship, so I'll be starting that. So training for that starts August 15th. So it's half time, and then I'll probably try to find something else to do. And so, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Hope one more move. I've moved every year for the last 13 years, and every year I tell myself this is the last one, but hopefully I will.
I did that from 20 to 26, and sometimes 2 moves in a year.
Yeah.
Not 2020, but 20 years old. So,
yeah.
Actually, I guess. It was a lot, man. Whatchamacallit? Would you recommend the Fearless Grad program to others? And if so, why?
Yes, 10 out of 10. I think, it's everything that I've been talking about. I didn't need like a lot of the really basic stuff of like the basic building blocks I can put together independently, but it was putting them all together in a way that was coherent and told the story of what I had been doing and now why I'm trying to apply to PhD programs, and how to kind of speak the more academic language was very helpful for me in particular. And then just in general, interacting with you and your team was always great. Every meeting was very fun. And then even just having the Slack chat is nice too, because it's, I don't know, if people ask questions that you like don't think to ask, and then you're, I should have asked that, but at least now you got the answer. So it's the benefit of the collective somewhat.
I love that Slack group. I love that like people are they're all doing the same stuff, and they're like excited for each other. I like that. It's a good group. Happy to have you. Anything else you would share to others as they like start this process and go for the whole applications?
The only other thing that I didn't mention was like would help me through, again, like we were talking about the highs and the lows of it, was thinking about this as, even if I don't get in somewhere or on this first round of applications, that doesn't mean I'm not going to get in anywhere, and there's always going to be other application cycles, and thinking about it as the first attempt as a potential series of attempts rather than, and I think it's really, for me at least, kind of comes from undergraduate applications, right? Where it's like everybody does it senior year, it's a one and done thing, so everything's got to be perfect the first time. And that's not really the case with graduate school stuff when you have discretion on when you do it, where you apply, how many schools you applied to and whatnot. That was helpful, took some of the pressure off the first attempts at some of the documents and applications.
I appreciate that, because like statistically, when you're a statistics person, the majority of people are not going to get in their first time. That's just the numbers. And so, yeah, I think we do need to normalize that more and take some of the stress level down. Because like, you're already living your worst case scenario, right? Which is you could just keep working or just keep doing what you're doing. Like nothing has to change if you don't get in. So unlike undergrad, right? Where like, to your point, high school ends and you have to go somewhere. Well, I really appreciate you. Keep me posted on everything. Good luck. And we'll be here. We're here. So if you need anything, just reach out. But I'm excited for you.
All right, catch you later. Thanks.
Thanks, Ben.